nicely. Our guest this afternoon here in the studio is Gerald Spain, and Gerald this year has been appointed the task of being the chief commentator and the guy that actually organises along with his wife. I said to him, you've got to include your wife on making those decisions because women have got that extra sense and they can tell who's doing the business and who's not. So Gerald, welcome. You come all the way from Invercargill to a beautiful place called Masterton.
Thanks, Cora. Yeah. No, it's a fancy title, I suppose. I'm a bit of a team player myself. However, you know, it's what's best for the show. So I work all those dynamics out on the commentators. They're all very experienced and good at what they do. But just, you know, it's a matter of getting those finer points really ironed out, of crossing the T's and dotting the I's. So we're down to, you know, that real technical stuff. Fine sort of art commentating, really, you know, to be able to sit there and talk just as things are happening. It's not a pre-organised thing. There's no rehearsals in commentary. It's what's happening right there. So it's a matter of trying to add a bit of colour TV to it, remembering that the show is about the shearers, the show is about the pressers, the show is about the wool handlers, and you're just there to add a wee bit of flavour to it. But it's definitely not about you as a commentator.
Putting the spin on it by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Well, there is that side. If you do turn the sound down, it's a bit like watching a rugby game with no sound. It does add that flavour to it. And, of course, there is the technical side of, you know, the lay people that are out there watching this or here live, of understanding the points, the penalty points in the wool handling, the pressing or the shearing for that matter, how it works, what are the judges doing on the board, what happens to the sheep when it goes out the back, what are the points up on the TV, all those different dynamics so that they can get involved at home of, you know, who is really doing well.
Well, that's why we brought you into the studio, Gerald, because on the screen now, technology's live, it's instant, the points are there, and you've got to be able to connect with your audience. They're out there in the World Wide Web, and if you are not up to speed, well, you're actually going to lose them, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. You've got to keep it entertaining. You've got to keep it hot, you know, high-paced. As they say in today's world, it is faster, and a good game is a fast game. So, yeah, you've got to be on your toes as a commentator now. The standards of commentary are higher. The expectations are higher. The preparation is longer and more thorough. And, again, it is about what's happening. It's not about you as a commentator, but you do add that little bit of flavour to the thing.
Well, there's a guy, if you go back a few years, a guy called Phil O'Shaughnessy. Now, what a wonderful commentator. He was here for quite a long time, and he set the benchmark, and hopefully he's watching, and we have to give him the thumbs up to young Phil and say that we did learn lots from him. And Gerald, you've got a team of commentators here this year, and I know you've got a schedule to make because you can't fit everybody in. Some people will have to sit down and watch the top 30 or the finals of the Open or the Open wool handling, but that's what happens when you work as a team, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it's what we think is best for the show at the time, best for the shearers, best for the, in this case, the Golden Shears. Okay, and if we're seeing different dynamics, it's no different than the All Black rugby team. Some good players don't mix as well as some others, and that's just the dynamics, and some will miss out. But there's always another day, and there's a whole lot of events here, and we need all our commentators, and they are all very, very good. So, yeah, it'll be just coming down to what's going to work, especially on the big nights.
On the event.
Yeah, on the event. On those evenings when this house is full and behind us, Coro, we want things really happening really well and really professionally.
Well, thank you, Gerald. We're going to go back to the stadium folks out there and go back to the Trust House Intermediate Elimination Heats. Gerald, thank you very much for coming in and spending some time in the studio here. Thank you.
My pleasure, Coro. Thank you very much.
But it's a young Aaron Watson there on stand one. Just cleans under that leg, lifts the leg, sneaks off there. The young Welshman on two, just putting that sheep around his leg there and just putting that last longbow in there, drops that ear down, puts the blow in over the top, does the one on the bottom of the cheek, heads off down that last side. But on stand number 2,